Okay, what did I do today? Remember yesterday I had my natural tools? Well, I'm trying to develop a new set of natural tools. So, that's what I did today. Among other things. Yeah, I had to do 100 things before I could do these modifications on these tools. On these natural tools, yeah. So the issue I had yesterday or the day before, whenever I made that last video, was this is broken. This flaker is starting to get near the end of its use life. It's an elk antler tine, and elk antler is very pithy, right? So the outside is very hard, but the inside is not. It doesn't make a very good indirect percussion flaker, although it does work. It doesn't work that great. So that's probably why I still have it, because I didn't sell it. So I'm developing another set. So this one is going to be split. I'm going to saw it and make like things out of it that are long and narrow, like tool tips and whatnot. Okay, so that goes into the box. Now this is what I had to work with as far as a billet. This and this. Now this is moose that I've had for many years. I ground down the pitted part up here because it's mostly bone on this side, because I cut this from the skull of the it was a European mount moose, right? I got sold half of the European mount. It was cut in half. So I cut this antler off the skull. Cost me a lot of money. Yeah, and it works well. It's heavy, but I need something that's a little bit lighter for my smaller pieces that I'm going to be making. So this worked okay, but I'm going to experiment with longer billets that I can swing. I don't like these, but I got this from a friend of mine. This is a whitetail. All these are whitetail antlers that had part of the skull still attached. Let me think here before I say anything. One of these might have been a shed. I can't remember which one. It's probably this longest one. Yeah, I think this was a shed, and these two were cut from the skull. Anyway, I've got some more, but I'm going to experiment with these lighter ones. I've got some heavier ones. Okay. This is another whitetail beam, but I didn't cut into this one yet. I think it's heavier than these. So if these don't work, I got some more that are heavier. All right. So yeah, I'll be trying to use this right now. I'll be trying to use this. I like to cut these with one pointy end on one side, as you can see, the same on the moose. That way I can use this for percussion as well. It's good for shaping and stuff on that side, and then smashing the edge to get long flakes. So with that side, hopefully I can do a pretty good job with that. It's a little bit heavier than the one I was using yesterday. This one's a little bit heavier, but heavy makes a difference when you're working on larger pieces. Yeah. And this one is pretty good too. It's nice and solid. I think this one is more solid than, oh, I don't know. It's hard to tell. I should weigh these. Anyway, so I got a stick to extend this so I can put it under my knee, right? This is just I think it's a 1/2-inch dowel, but it's tapered on this end to 3/8, right? Yeah, 1/2-inch dowel. It's tapered down to 3/8 because I drill a 3/8 hole in the bottom of these, or into the pith of these antlers. So that's what I did. I have another whitetail. This time it's whitetail antler tine, which is better for indirect percussion because it doesn't have a lot of pith. So I'll be using this one as an indirect percussion flaker. See how I inserted that stick in there? I got this one, which is a little bit more curved. It's already dulled in nature. So that'll work. I just hit this. I hit the antler part. This goes under my knee, this part. This is not as good. It's kind of curved, so I have a limited amount of ability to twist this around and use different facets on this, I guess. All right, and then last but not least, I have a pressure flaker that I'm going to be using. I drilled a 1/4-inch hole in this, and that allows me to replace the tips. So these are my pressure flakers that I made out of antlers, and they include part of the tine. This one is the brow tine on a small antler. The brow tines are the strongest tines. I don't think that one's a brow tine. On here, I think this one is not a brow tine either. Anyway, I've got some more antler that have the brow tines on them that I'll be making pressure flakers from. They wear out fast. Yeah, so I was thinking I can put in a tip made of antler in here and use it as a pressure flaker, and then take it out and put it in as they wear down. Yeah. I'll be making more of these with different types of tips. Right, I need 3, or I just need a bunch of tips I can put in there. I think it'd be lighter if I just make a bunch of different tips with different sizes. The only thing is I need to make sure I can remove it easily, because it's friction fit, and as I'm pressure flaking, sometimes I use a lot of pressure. It drives that antler tip in there, and I need something that's not pliers to pull that back out. Maybe I'll put like ridges into the tip, the sides of the tip, so I can get a grip on it and pull it out. All right. Yep, or I make some Gilligan's Island set of pliers, you know, something like that. All right. Let's see. I think this will work. And this is just a long tine that I can use by itself behind my knee. It doesn't need a stick on it. Okay. And my goal on the new kit is to be lightweight and nothing longer than this. But see, I can take this down and put it, and it makes the bag. I'm going to make a bag for it. It makes the bag smaller, and it makes the kit more compact. And I'm only going to need 2 billets, and then maybe this pressure flaker with a bunch of tips. I'm going to try to make the toolkit as light as possible, and of course a couple of hammerstones, or a braiding stone and 1 hammerstone. So I'll make it as light as possible. Okay, that's my plan. When am I going to start napping? As soon as I start losing all the crybabies. Yeah. Have they left yet? Let's see. I hope so. All right, so let me see. What am I going to do? I do need some of these out, easily accessible, but not near me because I'll drop the points on them. Now I need a rock. So I've already picked a rock. Now for some reason I cleaned the lenses on my camera, but I still get this weird fuzzy effect. Okay, so here we go. Eventually I'll do a primitive mitt or something for my hand as well, because you definitely need hand protection. Ready? I'm ready. Definitely need hand protection when doing this, just because it's so much better not having to worry about injuring yourself when you're doing this. So it's the same stuff, whether you're using natural materials or artificial or man-made materials. Same deal. I need a better abrader for the edges. Is this what I was using? No, I think I was using this one. Oh, I know what I was using. I was using a split quartzite cobble, and I sold it. And see, what I do is I crack these in half. This is a quartzite cobble. I crack it in half, and I use a flat part as an abrader for the edges on this. I don't want to ruin my other abraders for the fine detail work. I want a heavy abrader and a light abrader. And back in the day, the Hammerstones doubled as abraders as well as percussion tools. So I can do that too, but it takes time to wear down one of the sides to be an abrader. I'm looking into getting a tool, a modern tool, to work some of these stones to flatten them out, save me some time. All right, let's see. Ah, yes. But it broke the flake. It broke it. That's not supposed to. It's supposed to be nice and beautiful, but oh well. Let's see. Yeah, it's supposed to be nice and beautiful flake like that. You'll find that Hammerstones will smash the edge just like anything else. If you use a softer Hammerstone, it won't smash the edge as much. But you gotta hit harder. Now, I've said before that you've got to do what works for you, right? In the context of modern tools, modern materials for the tools, that's easy to do because the material itself is consistent. So it's easy to recognize if you need to change your method, relatively speaking, because it's not the tool. The tool is consistent. If you buy a piece of aluminum and I buy a piece of aluminum, it's going to be the same. So if we're not getting the same result, it's the technique. However, with this stuff, you can pick up a stone that looks almost exactly like this, or even exactly like this, and it will not knap like this one does. So it's even harder to recognize if it's you or the material. And it's harder to teach than natural stuff. In fact, I was losing sleep. Was it last night or the night before? After that natural tool video, because I realize that teaching this stuff with the natural tools is very difficult in comparison to teaching with modern tools. Yeah, because it can be the tool itself that's not working, and not your technique or anything. So it's even finding what works for you is even more of an issue with natural tools than it is with modern tools. You're going to have to adapt to what you've got. Even though it looks like you're working the same stuff or working with the same stuff I'm working with, it may not be. So you've got to figure out how to work with what you got to make doo-doo with what you got, so to speak. Okay? And it's even more of a issue with the natural tools. Okay? And that's what was causing me to lose sleep. Trying to teach. Now, teaching it is one thing. If I can't teach, at least I can show you the potential. I think what's more valuable is showing you the potential of what can be done. Instead of, telling you a technique that might work for you, I'll just show you what the potential is, okay? When I first started, I work with natural tools. Hammerstones and antler, just like everybody else wants to start with. To learn the old ways. and I looked at nappers that were using on YouTube natural materials, and pretty much I could not use any of the methods they were using. None. I struggled and struggled and struggled. I could not do the monkey see, monkey do thing. The monkey see, monkey do is the default technique, you know, just monkey see, monkey do. I was not able to do the monkey see, monkey do with what I was seeing on YouTube with natural tools. So I had to develop my own techniques. I couldn't nap with big hammerstones like everyone was doing. I couldn't nap with billets, long swinging billets like everyone was using. I couldn't do the pressure flaking like everyone was doing. I couldn't do anything like I was seeing on YouTube or at Knappings with natural tools. I couldn't imitate what they were doing and getting the same result. I could imitate but not get the same result. So I had to develop my own methods. Smaller hammerstones, indirect percussion, non-swinging billets, and pressure flaking with finally with more strength in my hand in a certain way with these pistol grip pressure flakers, because I can't get enough pressure with the traditional way of holding it like this. I can't get enough pressure. However, I can get enough pressure with the pistol grip type. Okay, so my style with natural tools is completely different than what I was seeing, and I had to develop a completely different way of doing it. And then I started thinking, if I had to develop a completely different way to do it, what about back in the day? Does that mean nappers developed their own way of doing things, depending on what they had for tools and materials? Why, yes, that is probably a thing. So then I started thinking even further. Does that mean that no one can really know how it was done because these nappers had to adapt to their own situations? Yes, that is true. Nappers had to come up with ways to do it with their own materials and their own physical limitations, either cognitive or musculature, skeletal limitations. So we don't know exactly how they did it. Right? So if someone tells you they know how to do it with natural tools, I consider that highly suspect. Okay? All right. Highly suspect, and that's being nice. As far as I'm concerned, I don't follow any other natural tool napper's advice because it never works for me. Never. And that includes support, bracing, pads of different types, pressure flakers of different types. Nothing. I cannot follow anyone else's advice. It does not work for me. Okay. So there's that. Just in case you're wondering, there's a lot of new people watching and wondering why I do things the way I do. Why are you not abrading right? Why are you not pressure flaking right? There's no right way to do it. Okay? There is no right way. The only wrong way to do it is if you break it. Yeah, that's not right. Okay, next. It's okay because I'm making small points these days. Let's get another rock. Yeah. And that's another thing about natural tools. You break more and waste more. Yeah. Why? Because you have to get used to it. The tools, they changed. the hammerstones get worn out. As you're knapping, they change. The tools, the pressure flakers and the indirect percussion flakers and all the other punches and stuff, they change as you knap more than with modern tools. So not only do you have to deal with the fact that these tools remove more of the edge, you have to deal with the fact that they're constantly changing. And then when you break a hammerstone, you got to pick up another one, and it's not the same consistency. They're never exactly the same. And as I was saying last time, you often get very sad that you no longer have your sweet hammerstone that you used to work with because it broke. And now you got to use something else. Another hammerstone that's not as good. Or who knows, it might be better. But you'll notice if you're going to do it this way, that there's going to be sweet tools and not so sweet. And stones that are really nice, and stones that seem like they're going to be nice, but they're a real pain. And you would say, I never had this trouble with my copper. Yeah, it's not the same. Did they have copper back in the day? Yes, they did. Copper goes way back. It might not go back 12,000 years, but it goes back at least 3,000 years from the present. At least 3,000 years. So it's still the archaic period where they had copper. Copper was widespread in small quantities, unless you lived near the Great Lakes, and then you had lots of copper. Or in South America, where they had lots of copper also. Okay. I should be using a soft hammerstone. That's another thing also. I like using hard hammerstones because they don't wear down as fast. I don't have to gather as many hard hammerstones as I do the soft ones. So I tend to use hard hammerstones more than other natural tool knappers, mainly because they don't wear out as fast. And I'll deal with the consequences. Okay? What are the consequences of it? It smashes the edge. Sometimes it's just too hard, and I've got to grind a lot to get the striking area strong enough to handle the hard hammerstone. And there's various issues, but I live with them. I can still get nice flakes with a hard hammerstone. Flakes that look like I got them with antler. Okay? If you notice, where is the big bulb of percussion? Where is it? There isn't one. It's a mystery. If you looked at that as an archaeologist and you found it and you could put it back on there, you would say, oh yeah, soft hammer. There's no bulb. No, you just saw me do it with a hard, this is a hard hammerstone. You just saw me do it. Anyway, I use hard hammerstones. That's another thing. I use hard hammerstones mainly. And guys have told me, don't use the hard ones. Don't use them. I said, I can't use the soft ones because they break up too easy. They wear out too fast. And they drive me nuts. Yeah. Especially if it's a hard stone and it's got a hard area on it. I have a hard enough time getting rid of the hard spots with the hard hammerstone. The soft one doesn't do anything. Now this is a heat treat. To be fair, this is a piece of heat treat. So I'm not going to have that much difficulty with it. But yeah, I use the hard hammerstone with the heat treats. And some guys say, no, not supposed to. I say, bite me. Yeah. I'm not listening to any advice. Nope. If I agree, it's by coincidence. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Am I able to get long flakes? Sometimes. I just don't have the accuracy. All right, so I'll stop messing around with this. Yeah. Okay. That wasn't too bad. Again, there's no big bulb, okay? The myth of the big bulb is a thing, okay? With the hard hammerstones. Anyway. All right, what are we going to make? Well, hopefully something I won't break. I'm going to test out my new flakers. This one here, my wrist is already killing me. That's another thing why I have to use smaller hammerstones, because my wrist starts to bug me. Anything bigger than this, I can't use for more than an hour or so. This is the size most knappers were using when I started. They use something very heavy, and I can't do it unless I'm just spalling. That means only, a few hits and that's it. I only use this for 2 or 3 or 4 hits, not solid for, what was it, 26 minutes of, or maybe I didn't start right away, maybe 15 minutes, and my wrist is already bugging me. Yeah. Okay. Let's shift over to indirect percussion or a billet. Yeah. I don't have pain in my wrist like I used to. It just starts to bug me. I can tell if I continue all day, yeah, I'm going to start developing a problem again. All right. You might say, well, light hammerstones are lighter. I mean, soft hammerstones are lighter. Yeah, they might be lighter, but they're pain. I gotta strike faster with those. Less accurate. Okay. All right, let's try a billet. Yes? Let me see. That doesn't feel heavy enough. I want to try to thin this down with some good strikes. This one actually doesn't feel heavy enough. Dang it. Let's see. Maybe I'll... if I swing it? Yeah. I don't know. This is a nice piece of heat treat. I don't know if I want to mess with it by experimenting by swinging. Swinging requires a lot more practice to get accurate. But it does work well when it's working. I just got to make sure I don't overstrike or strike too high, because it'll break the whole thing. It has good speed on it. But see, I overstruck. It's supposed to strike the edge, like close to the edge. I hit up here. Luckily, it didn't break. That's not going to work. Let's see. I mean, it works. It just removes way too much of the edge. Yeah, if I get close in and don't swing it, I can get more accuracy. You can see how it chews up the antler a lot more than it chews up the aluminum or copper. And it's dry. This stuff is dry. It's been drying for the whole winter. The humidity has not been high. So it's not been exposed to extreme high humidity. Even with heat treat, it eats the tools for lunch. The heat treat will eat the tools for lunch. All right. Oh, that almost went. I could tell it almost did it. It almost did it. Did it do it? Ah, yes. See, and that, see the bulb on that one? Very similar to the other one with the Hammerstone. Where's the Hammerstone one? I should have saved it. Is this a Hammerstone? Golly, I forgot to save it so you could see. This was a Hammerstone one. Can you tell the difference between the two? No, you can't. Some people say, oh yes, I can right away, immediately, and I can see, blah, blah, blah. No, you can't. I don't believe you. You can say you do, but I don't believe you. Okay? All right. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to do some videos comparing the modern tools to the natural tools also. You know, side by side. I've done a few already. Side by side comparisons where I strike with antler and then I switch to strike with aluminum or copper or something. The funny thing about those kind of demonstrations is I adapt to each one as I'm working. So I'm trying to get the same result with each one, which screws up the data. I'm trying to get the same result with each one. So guess what? I'm going to get the same result with each one. Does that mean that each one is identical? No, obviously they're not identical. But I get the same result. Because that's what I'm trying for. Right? So it messes with the data. Yeah. By adapting to each one to get similar flakes, starts producing similar flakes even though the tools are different materials. So I can't say, see, I make the same exact flake with the different materials. I can't really claim that on that particular piece because I'm adapting to it. But then again, there's the other side to it where the fact that I can adapt means that I can produce the same flakes with different materials. Okay, so there's two different things going on there. What I can do is try to give you a feel for maybe the advantage of one over the other. Which one seems easier to work with or more difficult to work with? Which one has the higher learning curve? But that's going to depend upon the actual consistency of the natural tool. Right? Some natural tool, some stones, some hammerstones work better than aluminum billets. Just because they're nice consistency. And you find it easier to remove a flake with a particular hammerstone and in combination with a particular stone, tool stone. Okay. So it's very difficult to come up with anything conclusive. It's probably why a bunch of people are so are so adamant about their position, because, you know, how are you going to disprove it? You can't really. It's not really all that testable or duplicatable or anything. You can't really prove yes or no. There's too many variables. See, I gotta take off way too much of the edge to run a big flake. And see, that's a ring crack because it grabbed. But I can get ring cracks with steel too, so it's not just a natural tool that produces those. Yeah, I can produce those with steel if I'm high enough on the edge to produce the pulling like this does. Alright, so I think I reached the limit of my skill on the billet. Yes, yeah. I can get longer flakes than that with indirect percussion at this thickness. Yeah. And if I do this trimming with the antler, it wears it down even further. I can't get it to stop being fuzzy. See that? It's even more fuzzy at that focus. I'm going to get a new phone. Yeah, don't worry. I'm going to get a new phone. Brand new refurbished. I looked on the website and they only had refurbished ones that were any good as far as price goes. I'm not going to spend no $1,000 on another phone when I can just get a DSLR camera for half that price, and the camera is awesome. You know, have an actual real camera instead of a camera on the stupid phone. Yeah, but I can get a refurbished one for cheap. You pay every month a little bit, maybe like $8 more or whatever. I don't know what it is, $12, or I don't know. Get on a little payment plan. Yeah, they get you on the payment plans. Yeah, the interest makes up for the deals. It's on sale, but the interest makes up for the sale price. They know what they're doing. So yeah, I do need a new phone. This one stinks. Another thing about doing this on video is you're going to get the video version of being careful and not taking risks, because I don't want to break it. I'm putting a little bit of pressure behind it because it absorbs a little bit of energy, but sometimes it does this and I end up hitting the workpiece with the billet. Okay, but I need to add some pressure on some of these strikes, especially with the longer flakes. It's called pressure assisted percussion, because these goobers absorb energy, the antlers. So I have to add a little bit of pressure, push it up a little bit, tighten up muscles here and then push against it. That way I don't lose a lot of energy when in the strike. See, I had to push hard against the indirect percussion flaker, because if I don't, that's what happens. I didn't push all that hard because it's near the tip and I didn't think I needed to, but oh well. Did it go? It's going, but it's not thinning that well. Come on. So yeah, I'm going to run into the same issue with this. It's going to get really flakery because I'm just going to whittle it down, because I don't have enough experience to dry really long flakes with this tool yet. Well, that's not too bad. Yeah. Okay. And I do a lot of my regularizing with percussion with natural tools because the pressure flaking is exhausting. It doesn't matter if it's natural tools or not. For me, the pressure flaking, I gotta pace myself. Okay. So it's much easier to do the regularizing with percussion. And it makes more sense if it is easier and less fatiguing. So I'm just going to whittle it down, try to figure out what I'm going to make with it, make out of this piece. And some of you guys, if you think you know what's going on, if you think you know why I'm not getting a certain result, you're going to be wrong. And I'll tell you why. Because you don't know the consistency of this antler. You don't know the weight of this billet. You don't know the amount of shock that these two particular pieces are generating or absorbing. And you don't know the consistency of this piece of heat treat. And you don't know the differences in that side to that side. There's so many things you don't know that if you think you know what could make this better, you will be wrong. Yeah, there's no way for you to be correct. Okay? There are so many variables with this natural tool stuff that there's no way for you to be correct in any of your advice. I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just, you need to realize that. And when I'm teaching someone with natural tools, I have to realize that I don't know exactly what's going on with that particular person's materials. So I'm just going to watch. I'll give hints. And then if it doesn't work, I'll try to something else. We're both experimenting. When I'm teaching someone with natural tools, I don't know what's going on. And I've got to make sure that I remember that I don't know what's going on with that person. I just got to watch to see what the results are with those particular tools at that particular time, with that particular humidity level and all that. Okay? Okay. Humidity does affect the tool tips more than you might think. Okay. Let's see if I can get some long flakes. That's what we're trying to do these days. Everyone wants to know how to get long flakes on this stuff. Oh, it's a tough spot. Yeah. It's a tough spot. See, the trouble with grinding a lot is that I'll break the tip off the flaker because it requires a lot more force to get it to go. So I'm going to break the tip. I'm going to start chipping this tip a lot if I've grinded too much. Let's see if it did it. Oh yeah, it went all the way across and took off some of the other side like it's not supposed to. Yeah. Okay. It's not supposed to do that. Come on. There we go. I gotta hit it like I'm gonna overshoot it and break it to get it to thin down. The natural tools are more risky. And if you are aiming to get perfect results with the natural tools, like a nice smooth surface with pattern flaking, it's going to look modern, right? Except unless you're trying to imitate a certain point from the past, like a Cody point. But not all points are Cody points. Not all artifacts look regular, right? If you are being too regular, you're not going to match the majority of the techniques or the look of most artifacts. So you might as well just use modern tools if you're going to be really perfect about it. Yeah. Okay. So I am getting these longer flakes, which is good. I just got to be careful I don't hit too hard. I'm losing a lot of the width. That's another thing. When I first started, I'm working small pieces, and all these other guys are working big pieces. They were using natural tools. Start out with a big old piece. I had to start with little pieces and make sure I conserve it. So that's why I'm very concerned with preserving width, because I don't have material to be wasting. I'm in the same boat basically as I was when I started. I've got mostly small stuff. I think everyone's in that boat too, unless you just refuse to live with it and you throw it all away, unless it's like 4 inches or more in length. I know some guys that do that. They either throw it away or give it to somebody else. They don't work with anything longer, shorter than 4 inches to start with. Four inches long, which is usually proportionally like 3 inches wide. 4 by 3. They don't like working anything smaller than that. Why? Because the natural tool eats through the stuff quickly. Yeah. All right. I'm losing energy somewhere. That's why these things are not traveling very well. I hate to use more pressure assist, but I think I'm going to have to. The danger of pressure assist is, like I said, if it slips off, I end up hitting the workpiece with the mallet. Yeah. And when it gets thin, that's when it gets dangerous. So I wait until the last minute. Probably shouldn't. And see, it's already causing a dimple like right there. So I gotta get rid of that. A change in the contour of the tooltip changes the whole dynamic of the flake removals. So what you think you're gonna get is not what you're gonna get if the shape of the tooltip is not consistent. Okay. Yep. All right, I'm trying to thin down this lump. See that? It's easy with modern tools because everything's consistent. But with the natural, it's like every strike I gotta make doo-doo with what I got. Every strike is a whole new challenge on making doo-doo with what I got. Did it do it? It tried to do it. Come on. That is a different consistency in that spot. So basic rules apply. The closer you are to the obstacle, the easier it is to remove it. So I'm going to have to get closer. Yeah. Closer and a more robust angle and a better edge, I guess. Better in the sense that it's going to be more abraded. It's just going to eat through my tool faster. But that's the way it goes. Alright. Here we go. Hit it like I'm going to break it. Yes. Okay. Am I going to get 2 voilas in a row? Maybe. No? Yes? That wasn't too bad. So why don't I do that in the beginning? To get close to the obstacle and reduce width in the beginning. Because I don't want to lose width. Yeah. See if it did it. Yes. That sacrificed a whole bunch of width. But I think I've got the basic shape that I want. The basic thinness and the basic shape. So it's now a preform. Yeah. I may take some more percussion strikes, but I'm going to do some pressure flaking to finish it out. Yeah, there's a big step right here. I don't know if I should leave that in. If I had a little more experience, I might take that out. I might be able to take it out if I had more experience. See, I don't want to hit too hard on the bottom because it's pulling a little bit and I don't want to snap it in half. I do need to thin it down at the base. I'm going to put some notches in it. See if it did it. Not too bad. I'm just going to go right into the pressure flaking. Yeah. And I am using a natural rock to do the abrading, so takes a little bit longer. And it does burnish it to some extent when you use a natural rock. Somebody suggested burnishing the end, but I normally don't try to make it really slick, because then it doesn't grab the edge as well. But this does burnish the edge, it does burnish the tip of it. Theoretically and thought experimentally, it should work to strengthen the tip, but it also is going to contribute to the slipperiness. Okay, where's my pad? And slipperiness when you're trying to pressure flake is not good. Okay. Okay, that's not bad. Let's see. Straight down here. So I'm just regularizing it. If I see a spot where I can press off a flake, I will do it. If it looks a little bit too weak, I will abrade it. Let's see. Yeah. It's a little bit of a different feel using antler compared to steel, for sure. Antler does that. See that? Steel will not do that, and it's a little bit different feel. You can peel a flake off. You can actually pull it off with the antler. Steel, you don't. You have to. It's all push. There's not much grabbing of the edge with steel. Copper, there's a little more grabbing of the edge. With antler, there's a lot of grabbing of the edge, which sometimes produces a much better flake for sharpening if it grabs the edge. On a lot of materials, they like it, which is a coincidence, because it made sharpening these things fairly easy back in the day. Okay. Just a happy coincidence. Fortunate coincidence. It doesn't mean that I'm doing it very well. But it's doing it. Now, is there a way for me to tell what can I do to make it better? No, I've got to experiment. I can't at this point tell you what I'm doing to make it better for my pressure flaking. So I'm still experimenting. And then once it gets better, I really can't tell you exactly what it is, because a lot of it's muscle memory and just subconscious. Why are you getting better now? What is the secret? You know, man, I don't know. I just keep doing the same thing over again until I got a different result. I don't know what to tell you. I can make something up. That way you can go away happy. But that's making stuff up. That was scary. I was hoping I wasn't going to remove the tip on that one. It's eating the tool tip. Okay. Is there a point where this actually becomes fun? The only time I have fun with this is when I'm making a small point. And I can take my time. I can take all day if I want. If I don't have all day and I'm making a big point, this process is like torture. Yeah. But back in the day, they had to do the big points too if they wanted a knife blade. Or, you know, just use flakes to cut up the meats. And then use the Flintknapping on these small projectile points only. And not make any big points. You know, if it was me, if I was back in the day, I wouldn't be making big knives. I would just be knocking off big spalls and using those. And then pressure flaking the edges to get them sharp again. And not making big blades. Leave that up to the guys who... That's the only thing they do all day. Yeah, the guys that make the big blades for trade, they probably were forced labor. That way someone else can take advantage of the value. Yeah. There's always going to be a big guy that's going to go, "You're going to make the blades for me or I'm going to stomp on your head." Okay, fine. Ouch, that hurt. Hurt my finger. I gotta move my fingers back a little bit. I think that's another consequence of the natural tools too. The finger positioning is slightly different because the tools have a little bit of a different trajectory or something. Okay. It's not in focus, is it? No. I know it's not. Okay. I gotta hit it to where it's not notched. And it's defaulting to this position where it's curved downward like this, because when I hit it, if it's like this, it'll go like that. It'll default to this position, so that's why it's developing a notch. I can't turn it like I can with a modern tool. I gotta come up with a straighter tine. I can use this one. Let's see. Hopefully it's the same consistency. Should be the same. It's been in the same weather. Should be very close. Should be. We'll never know. Let's see. I gotta make the shape of this tip as close to the other one as I can, so I don't lose the feel of it. Yeah. What's going on? Let's see what is going on. I want to thin this down. I already lost my symmetry. Let's see, an hour and 6 minutes. Ooh, I gotta go inside too, very soon. Oh, I didn't do it. Almost did it. Almost doing it. I'm losing some energy with this this time. Okay. Just gotta hit harder. That's not going to do it. I got to take a risk. It's not going to thin down unless I hit it really, really hard. Hard enough to break it. Okay. So if I don't make videos for a while, you know where I'm at, where I'm going to be. I'm going to be looking for a new phone. But I'll just make videos with what I got. Yeah. For now, yeah, I don't care. Until I get a new phone, I'll be using this one. Doesn't matter how bad it looks. Sometimes I'm thinking that the shape has something to do with the difficulties in thinning. Like the narrowing above the notches makes it easier to run flakes into the area where you're going to notch. You know, putting a constriction here and constrictions there before you notch. You can run flakes into that area more easily because it makes it more narrow. Yeah. Kind of doing it. It's trying to do it. Okay. And yeah, I'm applying pressure this way. I'm getting crunchies. Yeah. I'm trying all the tricks. Yeah, it's saying to me, silly rabbit, tricks are not for you. I'm trying my tricks, but they're not working. So yeah, I'm thinking that sometimes the shape lends itself to thinning. Come on, is it doing it? Tell me it'll do it. No, no, almost. See how flakery it looks? I lost all the bold flakes because I'm just trying to whittle it down little by little. Which is good when you first start doing it. But if you want it to look a little better, I think it looks better with bold flakes. Yeah. Okay. This is not helping. And the camera's not helping. I don't know what it is. No, I do know what it is. It's just frustration. Okay. It's new, you know. It's a newer thing. And yeah, the natural tools don't work as well. No way. They don't work nearly as well as the modern stuff. See that? It's just eating the antler. Come on. Yeah, I'm hitting it very hard. This antler must be quite weak. Yeah. Yeah, that antler is weak. There it goes. So yeah, this looks the same. But it's not. This antler is weak compared to this one. Okay. Oh, it didn't do it? Come on. Yeah, okay. I want to say it looks better, but I don't know. It's thinning down a little bit. It's also getting more narrow, so the width to thickness ratio is not improving. If you had to get too narrow to get it thinner, your width to thickness ratio remains the same. I don't want it to remain the same. All right. Now, sometimes a notch in the tool helps, but when you're working with delicate materials, it can break the piece because it pulls too much when it has a notch. So one of the things that might be helping is it's a little bit dimpled right there. It helps to pull the flakes off, but I don't think that's what's helping me remove the flakes. I think it's just this is more dense, this particular antler. I'm going to leave this. I was trying to get some bold flakes to go there, but I'm just going to have to leave it all flakery. Yeah. Eventually I'll get it. Eventually I'll get used to it. I'm getting some premature flakeration there. It's not giving me enough time to build up pressure. Yeah, so yeah, it stalled pretty good. Okay, good. Lucky I didn't blow that ear off with that particular flake. I think I blew some of the ear off with that flake though. Yeah, it went around and you can see it blew off some of the ear with that flake. Dang it. Okay. That's why it's important to get these bases thin. Yeah. Oh, come on. Yeah, good. Good. Very risky. See that flake did go to the end of that ear, but it didn't blow it off. Very lucky. I'm using a tremendous amount of pressure compared to using my other tools. I'm using a lot of pressure in comparison to the modern tools. I'm using maybe 3 times the amount of pressure that I normally use. At least. Yeah. I would not dare use that much pressure with the modern tools because I would be snapping these things in half easily. But with this, it's absorbing some of the energy that I'm using for pressure, so it's not all going into the material. Yeah, they're not running. It takes a little bit of time to get used to trying to run these flakes. I just want a couple of nice pop outs. No. Of course it landed on my tools over there. Did I break anything? I think I might have broken off some of that. No? Yes? Pop out, not crushing. It's gotta be a pop out. Yeah, I did take off some of that. Dang it, that's even worse than before. It was already not symmetrical there. Undetached flakes. See that? You can see all that antler being deposited. Okay. There it goes. Oh, no, come on. I'm using like 5 times the amount of pressure. On a tool that is not nearly as strong as steel. So it's crunching the antler. Okay, so that's good enough for that. Yeah, I'm not going to push my luck. Okay. I'm just going to work on the symmetry now. They didn't care too much about the symmetry back in the day. No. It'll give me a chance to try to run some more flakes into that area, maybe. Just got more crackly? Yeah. Just a little more crackly. Perfect. See, it's an island because I hit it from all directions. The only direction that's open is from inside the notch right here. And you can tell I hit it from every other possible direction. If I could somehow power a flake into that area, I could get it. But then I got an island on that side too. Can I press on the face of that with antler and get it off? It's possible. The higher that step fracture, the easier. But no, it's just gonna. Actually, it's just gonna file down my antler tip. Yeah, it's not gonna work. Sometimes it does, but only if that step fracture has a good angle or a good face on it that allows you to peel that flake. Yeah. Oh well. Come on, where'd it go? Not like that. Yeah, like that. The flake went into my mouth. I should not flake with my mouth open. It's yummy. Really? No, it's not yummy. Note to self, do not nap with mouth open. Do not nap with the natural materials with mouth open. Yeah. The flakes are bouncing. So I'm putting in a tremendous amount of pressure. Yeah, it's a good thing I paced myself. Come on. There we go. No, not like that. Dang it. Severe premature flakeration. It's got to be able to seat. What temperature? No wonder, it's almost 60 in here. The space heater is working too well. What I'm doing is I'm trying to thin down the edge. By getting pop outs on each side, but it's not working all that well. What they used to do back in the day was either bevel it, or they would take a big flake and space them out, and then turn it over and take flakes in between those spaced out flakes. What I'm trying to do is hit the dull spots, but it's not working all that well. Why? Because it's crushing a lot. I'm used to a different kind of tool. I suppose as I get used to the antler, it'd be easier for me to flake. But I should probably do it like they used to do it. Space out that pass of flakes and then come to the other side and flake in between, even though there's dull spots. Because I notice on artifacts, there's dull spots in between. Yeah. They didn't go, and not in all cases. Some cases they did, but not all cases did they go back and pick at the dull spots. They just left them in there. I suppose for a projectile point, it doesn't matter too much if there's little dull spots. But if I sell it and you guys look at this stuff through a microscope, you're going to see, hey, there's dull spots. What a loser. Of course, if it was an artifact, it'd be beautiful with the talent of the angels. Yeah. Even though there's dull spots. People don't like when I say that they did some stupid napping. No, it's beautiful with the talent of the angels. Okay. I don't know. People are funny. All right, I'm gonna abrade. I'm not supposed to, but I'm going to. Why not supposed to? Because it makes it dull in between the flakes. There's gonna be some dull spots because I'm not going to flake the whole thing. Did it work? I suppose it's okay. I don't like seeing the dull spots. Yeah, me personally, I don't like seeing the dull spots. So, yeah. I got a little bias there. Where I think it's not necessary. I mean, if you're going to nap away all the dull spots. Maybe they didn't so they could resharpen it more easily. It's possible that they could be leaving the resharpening points, the resharpening areas still there so they can resharpen it more easily instead of trying to figure out how they're going to resharpen it because it's all thin. Maybe that's it. Yeah, I suppose it's okay. Maybe that's why they left dull spots, so they can resharpen later. And it's easier to resharpen that stuff. Alright, so I'm going to leave it that way with all the blemishes and all the step fracturings. Yeah, because if I can try to blow that away, and I will, but I'll be too narrow. I can get that out. It's just, I got to remove too much of the sides. Same with this. I could probably blow that out, but I gotta constrict the sides even more, and it'll be like a concave sided point. I like these that look convex. It's stronger anyway. Let's see. I got some foreshafts. Hold up. I found some in my stuff when I was looking today for more antler. Yeah. I got good stuff in here. Oh yeah, I got some miniatures too. I got little bitties miniatures. These are actual miniatures 1/3 scale. They didn't make the arrowheads this tiny. Well, they might have made that one that tiny, but this is supposed to be 1/3 scale. Alright, anyways, I got some foreshafts I can test on this. This too deep. These are my prefab foreshafts. That one's not wide enough. Oh, this might work. No. This is wide enough. It's too deep for it. But anyway, just pretend it's not that deep. I like the look of the convex edges. But you can see the notch doesn't need to be that deep, right? And you can see how well that will haft into it when the sides of the notch, the sides of the stem, I mean, match the wood width. When you wrap it, it's very strong that way. And I think they probably went up a little bit on the blade sometimes if they felt necessary. But on this style, I'll just use a lot of glue. Yeah, I wouldn't do the notch that deep, and just wrap it, you know, wrap it over the top of the wood also. Yeah, and these cross hatchings are for allowing the glue to stick better. On some of the artifacts, you can see when they wrap down, they didn't wrap all the way down past these scratch marks, and you can see some of the scratch marks below the sinew on some of the artifacts. Yeah, so they would score the foreshaft like that sometimes. Okay, so there you go. It's not translucent. I tried to get bold flaking on it, but you can see that I was not all that successful in making the flakes go all the way across. That would have to take too many risks. So I just whittled it down, and I'm just going to leave those in. I'll probably make another foreshaft, not this one, and I'll sell it in the auction hafted. How's that? Yeah. Where's my other one? Where's my other one? Where'd it go? There it is. What's all that jingling? Yeah, I have some broken pieces in the other one. Yeah, so I'll half both of these, right? I'll just sell them as a single item. Yeah. I'll make duplicates of these foreshafts. These are my pattern foreshafts. I'm not going to give them. You can't have them. No. No. These foreshafts are most of my points will fit on these 5 different foreshafts. When I make a point, it usually fits into one of these. Yeah, and I can use this to make the point the right thickness too. Right. What are they? I think a couple of these are Osage, and the rest are elm, I think. Maybe one is mulberry, but I think they're mostly elm, with a couple of these being Osage. I think these are Osage. Okay. Alright. That's it. Hope you like it. Yeah. I need a good background. Okay. That's it.